How are you?
Hello. Oh,
We're at
Yeah.
them right there.
yeah. More often than I'd like.
Yeah, I want to make a point of that. Hey, how are you, sir? Good to see you. It's not an agenda
Okay,
item.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's
was
not an
thinking.
agenda item.
Okay.
It's probably good now.
Good evening and welcome to our August 10th City Council meeting. If you'd please stand and, well, first of all, Councilmember Brad Hemphill is excused. But if you please stand and join us in the pledge, Councilmember Arnold Lopez will lead us in it. And on the invocation, Councilwoman Alma Flores will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. As we open tonight's meeting, let us remember that our role is one of service to our community and to one another. May we carry out the work before us with wisdom, professionalism, and respect for all voices and viewpoints. With appreciation for the opportunity to serve, let us begin tonight's meeting. Amen.
Thank you. And we'll move on to item number 5. Any comments from the citizens on agenda items?
Mayor, I do not have any comments on agenda items.
Any comments on non-agenda items?
We have several comments for non-agenda items.
Okay.
All right, the first one on the list is Claude Kopchenko. Could you please approach the podium, first and last name? And if yes or no, you live within city limits, and then your timer will begin.
Good evening, Mayor Ortega, council members, attendees. My name is Claude Kopchenko. I'm a county resident. I come before the council once again to voice my opposition to the deployment. Thank you. I come before the council once again to voice my opposition to the deployment of flock cameras throughout Safford and surrounding areas, and the way it was done. I'm opposed to the program because the council approved this program without public awareness. Number 2, the council installed the cameras without public awareness. Number 3, the council has subjected me and the citizenry to bear the cost of monitoring the system and also the cost of maintaining the system all through the future. The council went to great deceptive lengths to go around the people's knowledge and consent concerning this matter. The council works for and gets paid by the public. Therefore, transparency should be the utmost consideration. Council sneaked around us in this matter, and I feel as though I've been cheated. And at best, lied to by the fact of omission. Which begs the question, what other shenanigans has the council been doing behind closed doors? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait 1 second. Sorry. Next one is Regino Mondragon.
Bridget Mondragon, local resident, Safford, Arizona. I know you guys are tired of hearing us. Just listen to the people. Recently, I'm against flock cameras, as you guys know. Recently, Chandler announced today that they're discontinuing the flock system camera. Flagstaff's over, Sedona's over, South Tucson's over. But now, they all dumped the program. All right? These are big cities that have a lot of crime, and they're still able to get the job done without these cameras. You got attempt to locate on the radio system. There's other means. We're not saying we're against law enforcement. What we are saying is people want privacy. It's not that nobody's doing nothing wrong. You could track anybody anytime you want to. It's just the facts. I don't want to come across like I'm upset, but I don't want you guys to take this personal. We all live in this community. We all got to see each other in the stores. But listen to the people. Other cities in Arizona are able to do away with flock, okay? Let Safford, Graham County do away with flock. There are other means. We can still be pro-law enforcement without having to say yes. Something that was said in the last meeting, that Mr. Clove said that there's only maybe at times 3 officers that responds, and flock helps out those incidents. Most of us have seen cars pulled over where there's not 3 cop cars. There's Pima Police, Thatcher Police, Graham County Police, DPS. The community works together. So it's not just there's 3 law enforcement agencies patrolling the area. There's a community. There's a network. It's something we have here in this community. So again, my opposition against flock cameras. July 13th, I was here speaking about some Conex boxes at Pollux. According to your guys' rules of how many we're allowed to have per property, that still hasn't been done. Green's Furniture, if you look where their old TLE is, they have refrigerators stored in there. They're behind the building. They're to the warehouse facing Fifth Avenue also. Kids can get in there. One of these days, something's going to happen. Somebody's going to pull July 13th, where I brought this to your guys' attention. Nothing's being done. Sideway blockages. Some stuff got fixed on the last one, and I thank you. They fixed the water leak at the Dollar General, but there's still blockages. I'm walking the streets all the time, exercising, Relation Street, 8th Avenue. People can't walk through that pathway. 8th Avenue and Main Street, Kempton's, that brick wall. People have to walk out in the road. Let's trim back some of that stuff. Let's make some of these sidewalks more visible. Another thing locally is we're noticing on 8th Avenue, 7th Avenue, that sewage plant is smelling. We smell it from the front, our front door. We're barbecuing outside, it's gross. I don't know what's changed, but it needs to be fixed. Something's not happening right. Appreciate your help. Thank you.
Mayor, next we have Chad Crockett.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Chad Crockett. I'm a resident of Safford. Several years ago, I heard the phrase, never let the fear of what if ruin what is. Meaning if there's something benefiting you, don't lose sight of the good that is happening by focusing on hypothetical things that could go wrong. I've heard a lot of fears of what if regarding the flock cameras. I had this flyer placed on my side door of my house, which is not close by the street. I captured the person placing it on camera, by the way, so they were caught on camera by my camera. But in this flyer, it says that the flock cameras are going to track how many times you go to church, if you're going to be late or not. So since the flyer has given us several what ifs, things we should fear, I thought of a few what ifs I'm afraid of. What if there's a reported drunk driver speeding through neighborhoods? What if a child's abducted on the way to school? If these what ifs happen, I want law enforcement to have as many resources as possible to locate and stop the drunk driver before they hit a child riding a bike or another car, before someone's killed. If this happens, I want them to locate the car that the child was abducted in as soon as possible so they can be brought home. Flock cameras are a valuable resource in these situations and others. When it comes to flock cameras, my request to you, Mayor and Council, is not to get distracted by all the fears of what ifs, but focus on what is. The system is being used as intended by the Stafford Police Department. Access to the system is logged and can be audited. Stafford Police Department has data showing the benefits and the value of these tools that provide law enforcement. All of the information I have seen on flock cameras and their use by the Stafford Police Department shows it is a benefit to the community. So my ask of you is to do what's best for the community. I'm not interested in what Chandler or Sedona or other communities did because I don't live there. I live in Stafford. And as a citizen who had a car stolen from him several years ago, I wish we would have had flock cameras then. Thank you.
All right, Mayor, my iPad won't let me stop my timer. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, IT. We'll let that run real quick, but I have Mike Assam next.
I wanted to talk about the flock cameras. And what I understand is that if I'm out walking around the street or just sitting in my car and I'm on my cell phone, that you would be auditing what it is who I'm talking to and what it is I'm talking about. I'm on 6 boards of directors outside of the county, and most of my interactions with people there are through phone calls. So I want to know if I'm being recorded, because that's one of the things that's against the boards of directors that I'm a part of, that no one else can have access to any of the conversations we're having around how to build a strategy that we could bring forward to help the company be successful. And to know that this thing is being recorded and then people are listening to it, I think is an illegal act on the part of the board here to do that. That's all I have to say.
Next, I have Dave Schenk.
Hi, I'm Dave Schenk, and I'm a Stafford resident. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I respectfully ask you to reconsider spending taxpayer dollars on flock safety cameras, rip the worthless Band-Aid off, and start addressing the real problem. Everyone wants a safer community, but I believe there are better ways to invest our limited resources. Cameras may help solve crimes after they happen, but they don't address the root cause of crime or make Stafford a better place to live. Stafford taxpayers are spending roughly $96,000 a year, but that's just what taxpayers are paying. You're also getting grant money, and that's coming to about $285,000, give or take, okay? But that's still public money that is being used for a surveillance technology that the public has not asked for, nor have they voted on. Instead, I encourage the city to invest in projects that directly benefit residents. 1, finish and improve our parks, which is being done. That's pretty awesome. but there was some talk of some delays. Number 2, create more safe places and activities for children and teenagers so they have positive outlets instead of getting into trouble. Support community, this is number 3, support community, recreation, and family events that strengthen neighborhoods. I'd also like the council to consider using available funds to reduce the financial burden on residents wherever possible. Families are already struggling with the rising cost of living. Every dollar the city spends should be evaluated against other opportunities that provide lasting value to the greatest number of people in the community. If we have money available, let's invest in things for our community that we'll enjoy every day, not just technology that may or may not be used after a crime occurs. I believe the best way to build a safer city is to build a stronger community. When families have quality parks, children have positive activities, neighborhoods are well maintained, and residents see their tax dollars improving daily lives, everyone benefits. I ask the council to prioritize investments that strengthen our community, improve our quality of life, and provide lasting value for the people of Safford. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mayor, next I have Vincent Van Houten.
I'm Vincent Van Houten. I'm a resident of Safford, Arizona. My objective in briefly speaking this evening is to request that all Safford City Council members take it upon themselves to properly and objectively consider the pros and cons of the flock camera issue. Please do specifically by utilizing our primary resource for information, which is the local law enforcement. Whether you are for, against, or on the fence concerning flock cameras, please invest the time to discuss the pros and cons with our local enforcement agencies. Learn by engaging directly with our local law enforcement if there are operational safeguards and policies in place to prevent misuse. Learn what the main ramifications are if and when those policies are violated. Learn if there are indeed factual cases where law enforcement has seen success utilizing this technology. Learn not only of the safeguards against potential abuse, but also of the system's efficacy in solving crime and bringing justice to the criminal elements harming our communities. Finally, discuss with them the plain view doctrine as it applies to public places. It is my understanding that some members of the council declined to discuss the dynamics of flock cameras with local law enforcement, under the assumption that the law enforcement's objective is only to provide propaganda. I hope our council members have enough confidence in themselves to listen to both sides, rather than letting a fear of perceived propaganda keep them from learning the actual facts at hand. If this is not the case, and all council members have already visited with local law enforcement, then I offer my sincere apology for my presumptive nature and my misunderstanding. But if this is indeed the case, then it is clearly the council's responsibility to objectively seek as much information and facts as possible on both sides. And most importantly, to not discount our local law enforcement agencies, who are the boots on the ground utilizing this technology. Utilizing this direct resource helps to make a better informed decision for the safety and well-being of our community. In conclusion, I would also like to suggest another resource to consider regarding the benefits and shortcomings of flock cameras. This resource is a podcast by a cultural commentator, Matt Walsh. While I do not agree with all his perspectives, he lays out compelling arguments for both sides. He carefully weighs the pros and cons and explains why one side ultimately prevails, while still validating the legitimate concerns of the other side. Please consider watching the complete episode on YouTube, which was released on July 21st, 2026. You can easily find this by searching Matt Walsh, What's Going On with Our Flock Cameras. Once again, search on Matt Walsh, What's Going On with Our Flock Cameras. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mayor, next I have Dave McCormick.
I live outside of city limits. I understand that seats on this council are not very high paying and it's more of a service that you do. And presumably because you care about the town. And I want you to know that I admire that. I'm glad to be able to speak and be heard by you, whether or not you want to hear what I have to say. It's important for the community to know that they're heard and taken seriously. When people feel ignored, that's when tea starts getting dumped into harbors. But in this situation, the tide is no longer turning. The tide has turned. Someone has mentioned Chandler and Pinal County. That brings the total number of cities rejecting license plate recorders up to 102. And the sheriff in Pinal said he canceled because I have serious Fourth Amendment concerns with the technology contained in those cameras. I swore an oath to protect your individual liberties till the day I die. I hope that our officials here have those same values. The council needs to pay very close attention to what's going on around you right now. In the last 3 meetings, the people of Safford have made it clear they overwhelmingly oppose this. We have some that are in favor of the surveillance. I don't know how many of them are directly affiliated with law enforcement or first responders, but I bet that's a big factor. I understand there's a new contract that's going to be voted on soon, and I'm going to ask that you think ahead a little bit. Think ahead what might happen after that vote. Let's say 4 of you decide that you know what's best, and it gets rammed through, and then Flock stays. Do you think the people of this town are just going to shrug their shoulders and say, oh, well, I guess for the rest of our lives, we're going to live under government mass surveillance? You think this is going to blow over if you just stay the course? I know 2 of you recently won re-election, and you might be feeling very comfortable, but I can promise you, I will make sure that every person in this city knows which of you ends up raising your hand to vote for a new Flock contract, and we'll let them decide. There may be another ballot sooner than you think with your names on it. We can get a lot of people to meetings in a matter of a few weeks. What do you think we might be able to do between now and June? On the other hand, you have an opportunity now to acknowledge, like Ms. Brantner did last meeting, maybe you got ahead of yourselves. Maybe you made a mistake that needs to be corrected now. Either way, as the other person said, please listen to your people. The tide is not turning, it has turned. These recorders are unacceptable and won't be tolerated. Thank you.
Mayor, that's all the comments.
I'd like to thank everybody for their comments. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 8, presentations. First presentation be the second quarter community water system report by Morgan Seal.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So to note, this report, this quarterly report, second of the 2026, is going to look a lot different than the first quarter. Visually, what I've done is I've tried to leverage the AI tool. I was talking to the databases and try to leverage that to help me formulate this report that is more visual for the viewer. Secondly, you're also going to notice that this report is a little bit different than the one in the packet. The one in the packet did have some errors on the numbers. I manually went through here, verified, and now I've changed what the report says, and I feel a lot more comfortable with what these numbers are doing. That was my fault for not verifying before I sent that out. I have made that correction, and it will be changed in the minutes. To start, page 1 is more of a dashboard. And the point of this report is trying to be more transparent with the community, as we have a community water system that serves not just the city of Safford citizens, but Thatcher and the county. So what the objective is to not point fingers, or it's not a game where there's trophies involved of who develops the most. It's more just transparency, get the information out so everybody in the community water system knows where the water's coming from and where it's going. So page 1 is more of a dashboard. It's a high-level view. It holds all the information in the other pages, but if you want to just get a brief understanding, you can look at page 1 and pretty much get all the information you needed. So starting at the top, we do have roughly 8,500 active water connections. So that translates to roughly 20,000 customers is what we figure. On average, the daily production from our water system in the quarter was 4.1 million gallons per day. As far as our reclaimed water source that we produce, we have the treatment plant, Smithwell and Fry Mesa, that we're able to bring in and offset the potable use with reclaimed water, which was roughly 87 million gallons for the second quarter. Bonita Creek brought in 238 million gallons within the quarter and was roughly 64% of total production compared to the domestic wells that we have. Year to date, we've installed 48 new services. That's pretty much on track of what we typically see in our system. I anticipate this number probably going up since there's a lot of development occurring around the area with Thatcher. There's several subdivisions that are about to get done and have homes built in there. So I do anticipate that number kind of fast tracking. As far as the water supply, you can see the breakout of Bonita Creek, the 64% to 36% from the domestic wells. Our average daily production, again, it shows you per month. So that is the 4.1 is the average of the quarter. Residential water demand, this is the entire system, so this takes into consideration Safford, Thatcher, and the county. As you can see in the hotter months, it does increase to roughly 132 gallons per person per day. I'd like to see that a little lower, around 100, 110 gallons per person per day. The next card there is the average customer accounts by service area. So now you can see kind of how it's broken out between residential and commercial and Safford, Thatcher, and the county. The one to the right of that is the actual average customer accounts by billing tier. So what this is showing is where the average customer lands in, and I'll zoom in a little bit to help the people in the audience. So this is showing you where the average customer is landing within the billing cycle or tier. So we have the base tier, which is your meter and up to 3,000 gallons. Your first tier is the 3,001 to 8,000 gallons. So this kind of just shows you where everybody's landing within that quarter on average. Now this bottom graph here, this was a suggestion from another council. So I'd like to encourage each of you, if you have any suggestions, what you'd like to see in this report, please feel free to let me know so I can include it in the next report. But the question was water tables. And I selected Kempton B because Kempton B is one of our major users. And what I wanted to show you was a comparison from last year. So last year is the orange line. And you can see as it's elevated up above the dark blue, which is 2026. And this is from January to the end of June. As you can see, in 2026, January, we started off lower than what we did in January of 25. And that's what we saw throughout the entire system. We just didn't see the water tables rebound as we typically do in the past. And then March 3rd, I wanted to show you kind of when pumping started every day, where Kempton B really hasn't shut off. And I wanted to show you what the water table was doing, where you can see that steady decline. You can see an increase and decrease. Those increases, what I would suspect those to be is maybe wells in the area stopped producing. And so it kind of helped that water table recover because we didn't change any rate or flow rate from that well. It was pretty consistent. And so that's the only explanation I have, is that things that were drawing in that area maybe shut off. What you see at the far right-hand side where we're around 64 feet, that pump is set at 80 feet. So what we do is we monitor these daily when the pumps run. And one thing we can do is once we start getting close to that pump is we'll actually throttle that yield back. So maybe the well isn't giving us 400 gallons a minute anymore. The water flowing in is only 300 gallons a minute. So we'll adjust that flow to try to stabilize that water table. And you'll see that in the next quarterly report. So we have adjusted that flow rate, and now you'll see that thing come a little bit back up. So what we want to try to do is take as much as possible, but without draining it down to that pump, because then we'll start getting air infiltration. People will start complaining about milky water, which is more the air entrained in the water. So that is page 1 and essentially the dashboard. So now as we go through the report, you start getting into a little more detail. Same information, like I said. So the water production, again, 64% was Bonita Creek for the quarter and 36% the domestic wells. On the right-hand side, it kind of breaks it out per month and based on Bonita Creek and the well, and then a total as your gold column. Same thing at the very bottom here, just another way to show you those numbers. Page number 3 is the system demand and growth. So as expected, on the top left, you'll see that the gallons per person per day has increased, and that's just due to the heat and people either irrigating their water, playing in the sprinkler system. A lot of it has, and this is only residential, so we're not taking in commercial into consideration in this chart here. So, excellent
Morgan, real
question.
quick, just repeat the question, please, for the microphone.
Yep, so the question was, does the commercial use or demand fluctuate or increase? Excellent question. So I've charted that out, and commercial is pretty consistent year-round. So a lot of the fluctuation is mainly residential, which makes sense when you start putting grass on the ground, trying to feed that, pools, whatever. And so you will see that we've all increased. And what I want to try to do here is just as we communicate to the public, the other service areas, County, Thatcher, make everybody more aware, and maybe we can see all those numbers get more in line. That would be the goal. As far as the installations, you can see this is year to date. We've installed 11 new meters in Safford, 15 in Thatcher, and 22 in the county. At the bottom left, it just kind of shows you the meters, the meter type per service area, so Safford, Thatcher County. And our last slide or page here is all about the reclaimed water system. This is a resource that the city of Safford has that is beneficial, where we can offset the potable use with a water that is reclaimed. So as you can see, the treatment plant, the effluent, produced 56 million gallons, which is roughly 0.6 million gallons per day, so 600,000 on average that we bring out of that treatment plant. And then the golf course utilized about 10 million gallons of Fry Mesa. So that is the second quarter of the community water system report. I hope this is going in a direction that you feel is appropriate. If you have any comments, concerns, please feel free to express those. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Morgan, you stated the treatment plant produced 55 million gallons and that the golf course used 10. Where did the other 45 million gallons go to? Did we have to disperse that to the river? Or?
So excellent question, Mayor, Councilmember Brantner. All of our reclaim at this point is being used. So it's either going to the fairgrounds, the golf course. Currently, the Mayor Jason Couts Park is utilizing it for construction water. You'll see their big tank. That's actually being filled with our reclaim. So every drop that we create, we want to reuse.
Are we tracking the amount that goes out to the fairgrounds?
Yep, there is a meter everywhere that, as far as I know, everywhere that we discharge, there is a meter. Thank you. Any other questions?
And your information's on our website so the public can look at it themselves?
Mayor, Councilman Member Lopez, I'm not sure where this report is going to reside, but maybe B would have a better idea.
It would probably be posted under the Water Department tab on our city website. We can get that posted tomorrow.
And the influent water was part of our planning for the Jason Park headed south of town as part of the project.
Correct. So we chose the path of that reclaimed because it passed so many parks. And Mayor Jason Couts Park was already kind of in the works and the thoughts, and so that was one of our targets.
And when we did make the trade with the county for the jail and stuff, because we did send them influent water, it released potable water for at least 760 homes.
Correct, yeah, and that's combined with the fairgrounds not using drinking water for their irrigation, and also the central water system. I believe that number that you stated was because we reduced the count. So central we got rid of, and also the fairgrounds is now using reclaimed water. So those two together cleared up around 700 homes, roughly. So
I was just hoping you'd reinstate that, that took place as part of the planning and passed by the council.
correct, it did, yep.
And you, of course.
Appreciate it. Anything else?
Mayor, Morgan, I just had a question about I know we talked a little bit about conserving water, and is there any concern that we need to maybe start looking at any special type of conservation or any water restrictions, or are we on track to still be okay with the level that we're at currently?
So as far as this year, historically, July has been our highest month of demand. And so now that we're out of July, we would assume that we're going to be making it out. We've been getting a lot of rains, which hasn't really impacted the water tables that we can visually see. Where that helps is that people stop irrigating, so our tanks fill a lot faster. And so as we go into August, September, everybody's going to stop using. We're going to see that gallons per capita per day go down. I believe we're going to be all right for this year. We're really going to gear up for next year. If nothing changes, we're probably going to be seeing restrictions, and we probably would have seen them this year if we had a well go down and we were in an emergency situation. And that's just where I hope more of the transparency and outreach of this education could help us long term. Instead of, nobody wants to restrict anybody's use. We just need to educate everybody of how to use the water.
Thank you, Morgan.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Morgan.
We have the
Yeah, Mayor, I apologize earlier. I thought it was a staff member that had asked that question. There is no public comment, sir. I apologize. I thought it was a staff member. But any questions, I'm sure you're more welcome to contact Morgan Seal. Thank you, Mayor.
Any others? Appreciate your support, and thank you.
Excuse me. And we'll move on to item number 2, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. Sylvia?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I will be introducing Cami Reinhardt. She's the Imagination Library Coordinator for our the Graham and Greenlee County, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library Program. I just wanted to introduce her and also just kind of give you a little bit of a background. She's going to go much more in depth. This global research project was done over a year's time, and it really has given us some qualitative and quantitative data as far as the impact of the Dolly Parton program. We know this as staff instinctively. We hear the stories. We see families come up to us every few months and just say how much they appreciate this program and how much of an impact it's made on their child and their love of literacy. And what we really like about this particular project is that it was a wide swath of the United States that was done, as well as 5 other countries. So it's giving you a pretty good idea of the worldwide impact this program is doing for many children. With that, I will introduce Cami Reinhardt, And if you have any further questions, you can ask her, and I'm also here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Victoria? Okay, I feel awfully short following Mr. Seal. Okay, stand a little taller. Okay, so Dolly, isn't she beautiful and isn't she lovely? A lot of you probably already have basic information about Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. It has been in our area for several years, but for those of you that may not know, or for the lovely people in the audience, and because I love to talk about this program, I thought we would start with just giving some background on how the program came to our valley and how it started in general. In 1995, Dolly Parton started Imagination Library in her home county. She has done several amazing things, actually probably countless, but she was toying with different initiatives to improve educational outcomes in her home county. And Imagination Library is one of those things. For those that are enrolled in the program, as soon as you are born, you can register for the program. So I go to the hospital, I have my baby while I'm, waiting around, waiting to get discharged. I can get on my phone and I can sign my child up right then. And then as soon as the registration goes through, I can get a book to my home mailing address with my name and my child's name every month until they turn 5. At age 5, they get a graduation book, which is Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come. And the books along the way follow the kids' developmental stages. So babies get board books because, as we know, they like to tear and chew. And they grow. Around 2 or 3, we get more books about sharing and having big feelings, as 2 and 3-year-olds do. And then we see self-regulation until they are ready for kindergarten. I feel like it is important to mention that the main inspiration behind the program is Dolly Parton's father. Even though he was unable to read or write, she always refers to him as the smartest man she ever knew. In return, her father often says that Imagination Library is the best thing she's ever done. What started in this small county has now grown to all over the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, and the Republic of Ireland. Okay, next slide. Okay, why is the program important? Well, did you know that a child's brain is already 95% developed before the age of 5? So we've already hit a lot of milestones and a lot of important building blocks before we've ever entered school. That fact scared me at first, and it seems a little bit shocking, but it's not new to our valley because thanks to First Things First, we've had that information for a really long time, which brings me to how the program started in Graham County. There was another lovely young woman by the name of Donna McGoy. You may have heard of her. I don't know. She happened to see the program. She saw Dolly on the front of a Rotary magazine, opened it up, learned about the program, and Donna was on the First Things First Council. She actually still is because Donna does everything. And she brought it to the next First Things First Council, and she said, this is a great program. Can we make this happen? Well, Jan Elliott was the library director at the time, and she said, you know what? We'll do it. She took it on, started the program, and ever since then, all children under the age of 5 have been able to receive a free book in the mail every month thanks to the partnership between the Safford Library and First Things First. And I love that story because it just shows how amazing people like yourselves showing up for the community can have such a huge impact. Let's do next slide. Okay, the actual global research project. So this is how it worked. They sent out surveys to over 86,000 caregivers through all of the coverage areas, and it just collected different pieces of information. Some of the information that they collected was their financial status, their age, their educational level. Do they already have access to books? Are they already reading every day? Because the questions that we wanted to know was, I can tell you a lot of really good stories. I can tell you about a little girl who was in the hospital who loves the program so much that her mom made sure that she contacted me to change and update their mailing address because she didn't want to miss a single book because the program is so important to her daughter and it brings her so much joy. I can tell you the story about, well, several stories that we've had about moms that are leaving domestic violence situations and they have not 2 pennies to rub together. And this is the only way that they have books in their home. I can tell you the story about twins who both get the same book every month, but because the book comes with the child's name, it's very important that they know that that is their book and not their twin's book because it is theirs and it gives them that ownership. I can tell you all of those stories, but it doesn't really give us actual data. So what they did is they surveyed all of these caregivers and they asked them all these questions and then they followed them over a year. And then they followed them at 6 months, asked them more questions, and then at the year mark, they asked them more questions, and these are the results. And the results are really, really good. So I love these results. Sorry, I get really excited about my program. After just 10 books, children were 4 times more likely to have stronger literacy skills, 9 times more likely to be interested in books, 15 times more likely to engage during reading, and 9 times more likely to be read to. But wait, there's more. Next slide. They took all of the information and they further broke it down by country. And the United States did pretty good, pretty proud of us. In the United States, once again, after only 10 books, this isn't after being in the program all 5 years, after only 10 books, children were 11 times more likely to be interested in books, 15 times more likely to join in shared book reading, 9 times more likely to initiate the shared book reading, and they were 5 times more likely to be interested in reading in general versus those in the program. And then if you look at the blue box and the pink box, it will give you information on not only are we more interested in reading, but we're having a more higher quality experience with the books. So if you guys look in front of you, I actually gave you guys some examples of some of the books that have been sent out. I picked some of my favorites. When parents get the books, they found that some of the reasons that they found it to be so successful. So even those parents that were already reading to their kids every day, the parents had high levels of education, were financially secure, they found that they still had a higher quality and a better book sharing experience, and it improved their home. They liked the fact that the books come once a month. They feel like once a month is just often enough to really re-encourage you to read to your kids without making you feel like maybe you're a failure or being overly daunting. Another thing that they really enjoyed is if you look at the books inside, each Imagination Library book, actually not each one, I like the Arnold Test is, you will get a message from Dolly herself in the book, and then on the other side, and it's not the same, it could be one or the other, you will get some reading tips of how to share the book with your children. And these reading tips aren't anything new, but you would be amazed actually, you probably already experienced that as a parent and a caregiver, at some point you just get tired. It's just one more thing to do. And they found that with these tips and with the monthly encouragement, the parents were more excited to read, kids were more excited to read, and they had a better experience of how to actually experience the book, to talk about the pictures, to count, to do follow-up activities in their home, excuse me. And it just really brings them a lot of joy. Go ahead, the next slide. And this is our last slide, because mostly I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that we have really great data that shows that the program is making an impact, but I want you guys to truly feel that you are part of that impact. Because as I said, this is community partnerships working together. This is people showing up, championing for kids, and making a change. And you guys are a huge part of that. And I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting the library and early literacy and having this impact on our homes. And if you guys would like, please take your book home. You don't have to, except for Steve. You have to take yours. Donna needs Buffalo, if she doesn't already. And I just want to thank you guys for letting me share about our program. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions?
How do people sign up for this?
It is so easy. You can sign up at any of the public libraries in Graham or Greenlee County. We have champions working at all libraries. You can sign up online at imaginationlibrary.com. And at our local hospital, we actually partner with Healthy Families, and they go and visit moms in the hospital in recovery. And they talk about their program, but while they're there, because they only have limited spaces, they talk about their program, but they offer registrations to all moms in the hospital. And if they get those filled out, they bring them straight to me. We get them registered, and we get them getting those books as soon as possible.
Thank you.
And people are also always welcome to email me at any point in time. I love to be bothered. If they have a problem getting the books, I love to be bothered. That's how I know what to do. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 3. The OutFi presentation by Jennifer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am here this evening from the Utilities Department to talk a little bit about this new program that we've implemented. I'm glad that there's somewhat of a full room because I'd love to get the information out to the public as well because it's a great tool that we have to help keep our citizens informed. So you can go to the next slide, B. What is OutFi? So I'm sure some of you kind of heard about it. I know our lovely city manager had sent out an email just to kind of give you some information. But what it is the outage communication tool for small town utility departments to reduce the calls, get the information out to our residents, let them know what's going on so that way we can get to work quicker fixing it rather than trying to filter phone calls and everything. So when we implemented it, the utility director, Jeff, and electric department manager, Mike Cook, they worked together to kind of get it off the ground and then kind of delegated it over to me. And so I've taken on the administrator role of it with getting everybody trained, and we just went live with it last week. So obviously you guys are all city residents. So if you had an updated phone number in the system, you probably received a text message saying, welcome to OutFi communication. If not, then make sure you get with us so we can get you in there. But you can go back real quick. What I wanted to, I'm going to read this one to you. I'm going to try to summarize the rest of them. But the city of Safford implemented OutFi to improve communication with residents during planned and unplanned outages. The system provides real-time updates, targeted text alerts, and a live outage map and automated phone responses, helping reduce the number of calls to the utility department so crews can focus on completing the necessary work more quickly. So that's kind of the general summary of what it is and why we're doing it. We want to have faster communication. Our residents will receive outage notifications by text, email, or phone without having to call the utility office and notify us with any utility issues that they encounter just by sending a text. So not everybody texts, we know that. So if they have a landline on file, then it will call them instead of texting them. If they are texters, we've got lots of people who, we're trying to modernize everything nowadays. So a lot of people don't want to make phone calls anymore. A lot of people they have that, I'm having it right now, the social anxiety of having to talk in front of people. And so sometimes it's easier for people to just shoot that text because they don't want to have that phone call, or they don't want to make phone calls, or they don't have the time to pick up the phone and call. It's easier when you've got 4 kids running around your house, it's easier just to shoot a text that their power's out. This is also not because we don't want to take their phone calls, but we want fewer incoming calls because the less calls we have come in, the quicker. So I'm one person in my department. I get most of the outage phone calls. So I'm one person, and when I've got 50 or 60 people without power and 40 of them are calling, I can only talk to one person at a time. So sometimes those overflow calls can get ignored until I can get back to them or till they call again and I can catch those. This will help eliminate that so I can get off the phone with them and telling them, yeah, we know there's an outage, and I can get Mike and his crew on the phone, or Morgan and his crew on the phone to let them know that we've got a water main break or power outage, and they can dispatch their crews quicker. We want to keep public awareness. We want to keep that relationship with the public. So residents, when they know that when there's an outage that's been reported, they can text us and ask for the status. We can send those messages out to them as well. We have a live outage map that I'll talk about next. And some of the other benefits that we found just by meeting with other departments is that the system can be utilized for when utility customers have forgotten to pay their bill. So we can kind of shoot them that message. There's actually a part in the system where we can go and turn them to not paid. So if they call and to report an outage, it'll actually tell them you're on the missed bill list. So call this number to take care of your utility bill so you can get your power restored. That will help keep us from sending people out to a power outage and keep that communication with the billing department as well. So that way we can eliminate having to send out people constantly to turn them on and turn them back on, and it makes things go a little smoother. Because a lot of the times our customers, they don't pay or they don't forget, or they don't pay because they don't want to pay. They pay because they forget or because their auto pay failed or whatever. And so this will be a way for them to know that ahead of time and get it taken care of. We can also notify of any road closures, remind customers to move their vehicles off the streets when we're going to do street sealing. And I know when I'm talking to Amber at Public Works, a lot of the times the newspaper doesn't get the information out correctly about what our trash pickup is for holidays, and it can be frustrating, and not everybody reads Facebook to know when those closures are. So we can use this system, and we can let people know, hey, we're closed for this holiday, so make sure you have your trash can out on this day instead. Go ahead. This is a little screenshot of our live outage map, and that's the link to it. Right now you can, well, this is one I took this morning when it shows 0 outages. So if there was a current outage going on right now, that little yellow box would say hey, whatever outage is going on. And then you can zoom in on the map and it would show you all the details. So I have more pictures coming up, but this is a little like synopsis of what we sent out, how to report the issue. So this is our phone number that you can call or text to. And please don't text it right now because my phone's sitting down over there. And so if you don't have your phone number registered now, it will tell you that you're not fully opted in if you text start or outage. You can still report a leak. It just won't link directly to your address. So if anybody is not even on our system, we actually had an issue last week where there was a power outage in Central, and they were texting us to tell us about it. And we were able to let them know, hey, you're not in our district, but the co-op is aware. There was multiple outages that came through, and we were able to test that system. So they can still tell us when there's something going on. And because they're opted in slightly. So if they are a registered customer with their name, their phone number, and their account number all is on in our system and it's correct, then it'll actually link directly to their address and create an incident right at their house immediately. So it's like VIP status. So if you report an incident, we don't have to verify it. It'll automatically create the incident and dispatch out our on-call guys. This is just some available commands to text, outage, water leak status, things like that. It's simple. It has an automatic reply. So if it doesn't understand what you're saying, it'll say, please use one of these. It will give you the option to, so this is a really important part that I really want everybody to understand. Everybody was opted in that had utility services with us, but if they don't want it, they don't have to have it. All they have to do is reply stop, and they will never receive another message from us again. So I want to make that really clear because a lot of people were not sure about it, and with all the controversial of everything else going on, you don't have to have this service. We offer this service because we want that to be more streamlined. We want you guys to be able to report it. You might be walking down the street. Morgan just gave a great presentation on water conservation. You might see a water leak but not know the address or anything, and you want to report that outage, and so you can text and say, there's a water leak in front of Ace Hardware, and we can send somebody out to go take care of that without you having to be involved in the whole situation. So, but if they don't want to be a part of it, they text the word stop, and they'll never receive another message. If they change their mind after the first outage and they want to know why their neighbor knew and they didn't, then we can tell them, just text start, and you'll be opted right back in. So they can start and stop as often as they want. This was the outage notification that went out with bills in July. We had several customers fill it out and return it back to us, and we are still updating customers that are still sending those in. There's also the QR code that you can scan, and it will give you, it'll bring up an email, and you send that email, it comes directly to me, and I update that immediately. So that way we have the correct phone numbers on file for them, so that way they can be opted in with their current phone number, because a lot of our utility accounts are from the 90s before there were cell phones, and a lot of people have changed phone numbers. So I probably entered at least 200 of these like the first few weeks after we sent these out, and I'm still receiving them here and there. Go ahead. These are our opt-in stats. So we have 10,033 total residents, 8,702 with the phone number on file, and 7,082 of those have a textable number. To date, this was as of Thursday, 77 customers have replied stop to opt out. So not a ton of them, but there's some. I noticed a lot of them, excuse me, that were opted out were like businesses that have a cell phone on file and stuff like that. But we have 2,300 who don't have a phone number at all on file. So hopefully we can continue to share this information and get people aware of it so they can utilize it. I mentioned again, customers that do not have an updated phone number on file are limited to what they can report, and they will not receive notifications of their residents if they don't have their updated information on file. So for instance, you can go ahead. We sent out at the Mayor Jason Couts Park, the water division was installing those meters, the effluent meters and stuff. And so during that time, there was going to be some outages, some drops in pressure, and there's 285 people who were going to be affected in that area by this work. And they suspected it was going to take, I think it was between 8 and 3 was the time, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. to work on it. And it's really hard to get a crew to deliver flyers to 285 people. So we were able to utilize the system the day it went live. And so there was some hiccups, and it was good that we used it and we learned. We ended up with some customers who were completely out of water, and we found out there was more and more and more, to the point that Morgan was able to, because these people were reporting these outages, we were able to track down that there was a PRV failure and they weren't supposed to be without water, and we were able to get it quick fixed, and people were happy that their water was back up. So if you were in the area of the Mayor Jason Couts Park, then you would have received that message and given you a heads up, and we were able to send it the day before, so that way people were aware ahead of time to store any water. And then we also sent it out about an hour before they shut it off, just as a little reminder. This map right here is the map that shows, this is how I would create an outage. So I did a test outage this morning. I just used my house as so that way I was the only one that got the information. I can pick which resident, so I can draw a map. We have some preloaded selections in there. So if a circuit goes down from the electric, if one circuit goes down, we know who it's gonna take down. So we created maps that we will just implement. We'll just click that map. It automatically selects everybody who's on that electric circuit, and they'll be notified, yes, we're aware there's a power outage. We've got crews working on it. As those crews get dispatched out, all of my on-call guys are trained in using it, so they can go in and they can change it from in discovery, meaning that they know that there's an issue, to in progress, saying that they're working on the issue. And once they know what's going on and resolve it, it'll be resolved, and then a message will go out to customers saying, the power outage has been restored. If you have any further problems with your power, please call us. That way we can get out there if there was something more that may have happened. Go ahead. And then this is what it looks like for customers to look at our live outage map. So the picture on the right, this is kind of just the general area. It shows 0 outages now because I had already resolved it. And on the left, it shows, it was a test outage. That was the name of my outage. It'll show that the category was power. The status is blank right now because we just created the incident. And then later, the below one, it shows that there was 2 people affected by it, and we estimate the restoration time as, I can't see what that says, but was a test. So it'll give live updates excuse me, on the map, where they don't have to call us, they don't have to text us. They can just click on that map. There's a link in our website, or it was also sent out to them in that welcome text. They can click on that anytime, and it'll update any comments that they have, things like that. When they report an outage, they can also tell us, like, I heard a loud boom outside, or I heard a loud pop, or there's a car that just hit a pole, and all of that stuff will come to us. So we can see every text message that they send is coming to a live person as well, and we can respond as a live person. So it's not always automated, The automated will take most of it. If there's a certain number of people creating these incidences, it'll automatically link them together instead of creating a new incident every single time. It'll update the amount of people affected. So the other part of it is the outage routing. So I know this is a lot of information. I'm sorry. I just want to try to give as much as I can so you guys know what's going on. Normally, day-to-day hours, we're in standard routing. So the phone rings, you pick, one to talk to utilities. It comes directly to me. I talk to you. During an outage, I can go and flip the switch, change it to outage routing, and that means every time they call, it'll say, "Thank you for calling the City of Safford. We're aware that there's a power outage going on. If you would like to speak to somebody regarding a gas or water issue, please press 1 now. If you have more information regarding the power, press 2 if you're wanting to call billing," and then it'll give you all the options still. So they still have an opportunity to get through that and get to us if they want to talk to us about something completely different. But if they hear the message saying, "We're aware that there's a power outage," they're going to say, "Oh, okay, they already know," and hang up, instead of having to continuously answer the calls of, "Yes, we know there's a power outage. I'm trying to get crews out there." And it helps them know what's going on, and it helps us work a little quicker to get it taken care of. This is the post-launch outage, or Outify usage that we used it for. I mentioned we used it to notify the customers at the Jason Couts Park. There was a few people that still called, and I let them know that this was available, and they were excited, and they wanted to know how to get signed up, so I was able to get them updated and stuff over the phone. And then I mentioned that there was a pretty big outage that happened all around us, so everybody but the city was out. Fort Thomas was out, Pima was out, Central was out, south of town was out, and a lot of those people, because they're our water customers south of town and stuff, they have a linked account, so they were able to report those outages, and it went strictly to incident instead of an unverified incident. So we were, me and the on-call electric were able to reply back, letting them know, "You're outside of our electric district, but please stay, in the loop for water. We've already notified the co-op of the issue. If you need any further updates, please contact them." But we did talk to Outify developers who are working on an update to automatically notice. So all of the data that goes into Outify is from Cassell. So if they have only a water meter with us, then they won't be able to report a power outage as a verified incident. It would be an unverified incident, so we would have to verify that that address was in our district before it would create a live incident and notify everybody. So it's had its hiccups, of course. We're working on it, and I think that in the long run, it'll be great for our community to kind of know what's going on. A lot of people have gotten away from being on Facebook, social media because of the negativity. So it's a nice thing that they can still count on these updates and stuff without having to be on social media and stuff. So I think that's the end of my presentation. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can there be 2 phone numbers receiving the same messages on one account?
Yes.
Or is it just the primary? Okay,
So we have
any
a
phone
primary
number
and a
set up.
secondary.
Okay,
So
so they'll both receive
If you
the-
only have one on file now, then you can call in to our customer service or to myself, and we can get your second number added in there. And then what it happens is, as we do updates, we have to pull reports from Cassell and then turn those over to Outify so they can upload those updates. They're hoping that in the future, we'll be able to kind of cross-link them, or I can, as an admin, go in and update those. So, but yes, you can have 2 numbers, and you can have an email on file as well if you don't want text.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know where it's going to be on the website? Because it's doing water, electric, and gas. Is there a specific place so we can tell them?
Right now, if you go to like our website and then it says departments and you drop down to utilities, it'll say outage map. But I'm hoping that I can convince our lovely IT guys to put me a nice little circle like they have our forms and permits and our notify me's and all that. I'm hoping that maybe they can create me a quick link on the homepage so it's easier to find. Because right now it is a little difficult. If you go, thank you, B, for bringing that up. It'll say outage map there at the bottom. And actually, there should be an incident recorded in there. So that does show, if you don't mind, B, right there where it says the yellow 1 outage. So I actually used this today. So we have a planned outage for the electric department on Saturday. They're going to do some underground upgrades, and they chose to do it on Saturday so they didn't interrupt the businesses because it's going to be right there along 20th Avenue. And so there's a house and a couple businesses right there, the dentist office, the safe house, that are going to be affected by our outage. So this all gives the information of who's affected, how long it's planned to be, and then any communication as we get through it. So if we restore it sooner, then we'll put an update letting them know the power's actually going to be restored. So here's the message that went out to them today, and then they'll get a reminder Friday evening at 5 p.m. just to give them a heads up again that we're going to have the power shut off while we do those upgrades. Did I answer your question? Sorry, I got sidetracked.
No, you did perfectly.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
You know, that made me think of one more thing. What if it's like a corporation? Can a manager call in and give you there, or how would like the person in charge of that business? For example, my home office gets all of our bills and stuff, but how would I know since I run the office?
You can list your number as a secondary on the
perfect.
account.
Okay, thank you.
I'm glad you decided to stay in-house and not give it to a third party that's not even in the county, because that kind of loses the personal involvement that we have with the customers. You know, you call a third party, they have no idea where Yucca is or anything like that. So I'm glad you're keeping it in-house. The other thing is, I don't see here where you kind of identify with electric outages, for example, where we might need to concentrate priorities, where there may be medical issues, medical devices that we need to get turned on ahead of some of the other neighborhoods.
I'm glad that you asked that, Vice Mayor Lopez. There's actually a setting inside Outify. So if they, and I mean, I've worked for the city utility department for 11 years now, so I've gone through many, many outages. And you always feel for those customers that call and say, the power's out, I'm on oxygen, it's only plugs into the wall, how long is it gonna be out? Is there anything you guys can do to help us? So when those calls come in, we can actually go into their account and we can select a medical alert on them. So a medical alert will notify us that during this outage, you have 1, 2, 3, whatever customers who are medical alerts, and then we can work with them to, if it's a life-saving type of issue like oxygen that they have to be on, maybe we have another option available. Maybe we take a generator out to them, or maybe we help them get to a family member's house, but we can address those as we go. But we definitely, there is an option in there to notify us that house is somebody with a medical alert. We can also create VIP customers. So if there's somebody that, we want to make sure that they are really taken care of. I mean, I think everybody here should be a VIP customer as far as I'm concerned. All our customers are great. So, but there's different settings in there. So, if we wanted to say, make sure that Eric's water gets turned back on the quickest, we can put him in there as a VIP customer. But the medical alert one is one that I definitely see us using, just so that way our crews are aware that there is somebody on oxygen, and maybe that lights a little more fire under them.
Thank you. I know you have that, the experience under your belt.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, thank you. I appreciate your guys' time, and thanks for going easy on me. Have a good night.
Well, thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to item 9, new business. Everybody have a chance to review the July 27th council meeting minutes? Any changes? Or?
I've read them, and I hope everybody else has too, and they agree with them instead of just voting on them. I also kind of wonder nowadays, when we vote on the minutes. Now, which one has legal status? The recorded one or the one we vote on here inside, the paper one?
Thank you for asking, Mayor, Vice Mayor. It would be the final ones that are posted online. That's the final official recorded minutes.
So if
Not recorded, but yeah, posted minutes.
So if there's a difference between the written one and the recorded one, the written one takes precedence?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, can you please identify what do you mean written? Because they're all typed up. So
Well,
what do you mean which way?
You write them. You write a summary of the minutes from the recorded one.
By Mayor, Vice Mayor, so the summary of minutes gets posted within 3 days of an official council meeting. And that's just a very basic motion adopted. It doesn't give you any details. Once I bring the minutes and you approve them, the ones that are in the packet that currently say draft, those will be changed to not have draft. And if like last time we had some amendments, some mistakes that I made on there, Those ones where the amendments were made, and then what's online is the official final adopted, approved minutes.
I think I understand your answer. The written one is the
I-
one, because there's recorded. The video, we record. the
Oh, so you're
meeting.
talking like actual video recording?
Yeah, the video
Yeah,
we
no, that's
record.
just for us to look back at for any type of reference. What is brought to me that's written by me or drafted by me is the official minutes of the meeting.
Okay, because they certainly can differ. Thank you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, if you can please let me know when they differ, because that is a
Well,
a concern to me if you're
Well,
saying
no,
that there's a
You
difference.
can't write every single word we see on the video.
Okay, thank you.
It would be too much for you. You listen to it and you summarize it and you write it.
Yes.
So, but there may be a difference in what was written and what actually was said here. So which one really has the legal preference?
And again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, it's what I bring to you to be adopted. Whatever's in the agenda, that's what's going to be posted once. If there's any amendments, I make the amendments, and that's what gets posted.
Okay.
Anybody else? Now it's an action item.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes for the meeting for, sorry, look at the date, July 27th, 2026.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the July 27th city council meeting. All in favor? Opposed? And we'll move on to item number 2. Purchase a Caterpillar 966 wheel loader and a 735 articulated truck.
Good evening, Mayor. Lance Henry, Public Works Director. This is a request for the mayor and council to approve the purchase of a 2026 Caterpillar 966 wheel loader and a 2026 735 articulated truck from Empire Machinery. The goal is financial management, infrastructure development, and maintenance. A little background and analysis is the landfill scraper is a machine that's used at the landfill 5 or 6 days a week and is a vital piece of equipment for landfill operations. This machine is used to haul dirt to cover material from the current borrow pit to the landfill to be placed on the final trash placed as final trash coverage for each lift of trash. The current machine is a 2000 CAT 621F and has an estimated 20,000 hours on it, since we replaced the hour meter on it around 3 times. This machine also features a center loading auger mechanism that works well in the rocky landfill material compared to the traditional elevating scrapers. Unfortunately, Caterpillar no longer makes the center loading auger option for the new scrapers, so staff is looking to replace the scraper with a loader and a truck. Empire Machinery includes both these pieces of equipment as part of their Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchasing Agreement, RFP 212816-01, and staff feels that this is the best and most advantageous pricing. Cooperative procurement through Omnia Partners complies with the city's purchasing policy. It is the intent of the city to initially cash fund this purchase using existing vehicle replacement funds budgeted in 2027, but ultimately intend to lease finance these pieces of equipment over 7 years once advantageous financing is identified. Therefore, staff is recommending the mayor and council approve the purchase of a 2026 CAT 966 wheel loader and a 2026 735 tick truck from Empire Machinery at the Omnia Partners contract price of $542,622.33 for the wheel loader and $862,807.45 for the tick truck, with a 10% contingency for any taxes, tariffs, price changes, or final mods. Staff is also recommending that we keep the scraper as a backup piece of equipment that we can still use on a regular basis. I stand for questions.
Sorry, I was thinking. So you said that we're going to be lease financing, so we're not planning to keep this equipment as a purchase, we're just going to lease
No,
it?
I asked that same question to our finance director, and he said it's a lease to own, is the way he put it. That's what it's called in the finance world, is a lease purchase. So it's lease to own, basically.
Is there a large buyout at the end of the lease? Okay.
No, it would just be financing.
Okay.
Anybody else? Not, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move to approve the purchase of the Caterpillar 966 wheel loader and 735 articulated truck.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of the Caterpillar 966 wheel loader and the 735 articulated truck. All in favor? Opposed? Then we'll move on to item number 3, front load sanitation truck purchase.
Yes, Mayor. Once again, this is a request for Mayor and City Council to approve the purchase of a 2025 Peterbilt Model 520 with a Whitkey Starlight front-load sanitation system from Norwood Equipment, Inc. out of Phoenix, Arizona. This is a Sourcewell contract price, contract number 110223-LEG. And this, once again, is a strategic goal is financial management and infrastructure development and maintenance. The background on this is the City of Safford Sanitation Division currently has 2 front-load sanitation trucks, with one of them used daily to run commercial routes. We currently have one 2016 front-load truck and a new 2025 front-load truck that was purchased last year. The 2016 truck has outlived its useful life. Staff has priced out a new front-load truck from Norwood Equipment, which is already built and available, for $469,604.66. Staff has found that the Sourcewell contract price submitted by Norwood Equipment satisfies all the legal requirements of the bidding process and feel that this is the best and most advantageous pricing. Cooperative procurement through Sourcewell complies with the city's purchasing policy. The City of Safford Fleet Division and Finance Department have set a life cycle maintenance plan for the sanitation division that would have all the sanitation trucks on a 7-year replacement cycle with the review at 5 years. The purchase of this truck is in line with that process. It is the intent of the city to initially cash fund this purchase using existing vehicle replacement funds budgeted in 2027, but ultimately intend to lease finance this truck over 7 years once advantageous financing is identified. Therefore, staff is recommending the mayor and council approve the purchase of the new 2025 Peterbilt Model 520 front-load sanitation truck from Norwood Equipment at the price of $469,604.66 with the 10% contingency for any taxes, tariffs, price change, or final mods. Staff is also recommending the subsequent disposal of the 2016 front-load truck when the new truck arrives, either through trade-in or public auction. I stand for question.
Any questions?
Mayor, I move to approve the purchase of the front load sanitation truck purchase.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the front load sanitation truck purchase. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
And we'll move on to item number 10, contracts and agreements. Number 1, approval of the AZ Winds membership agreement with the Arizona Department of Public Safety. Sam?
Yes, good evening, members of the council. This is a request for city council approval of the AZ Winds membership agreement between the Arizona Department of Public Safety and the City of Safford for continued participation in the Arizona Wireless Integrated Network System, known as AZ Winds. Goals are support public safety, reliable emergency communications, and regional interoperability among public safety agencies. Just a little bit of background. The AZ Winds is a statewide 700, 800 megahertz public safety radio network operated by the Arizona Department of Public Safety. This agreement provides the city with Tier 1 subscriber membership, enabling interoperability communications with surrounding public safety agencies. In the FY 26-27 budget, we included $30,000 to provide Tier 1 coverage for 60 police department radios. In the following fiscal year, we plan to add 49 Tier 1 fire department radios at an estimated annual cost of $19,600. The proposed agreement has an initial term through June 30th, 2031, with up to 3 additional 5-year terms if approved. The city is responsible for complying with AZ Winds bylaws and paying applicable membership and service fees. The bylaws set up a framework for the agencies to cooperate in connection with the operation of the network. Analysts or analysis. Participation in AZ Wins provides continuous 24/7 access to a secure statewide digital radio network with system redundancies, backup power, encryption capabilities, interoperability, and around-the-clock monitoring. These capabilities enhance communications reliably for police, fire, and other public safety operations. The agreement also outlines responsibilities for both Arizona Department or AZDPS and the city, including training, support, talk groups management, payment procedures, and standard contractual provisions. The recommendation is for staff recommends approval of the AZ Wins membership agreement with the Arizona Department of Public Safety and authorizes the city manager to execute the agreement. In addition, I'd like to just let you know that we meet monthly with the county and Thatcher and Pima and us as far as, and then also DPS as well, with communications for radios. And so this has been something that we've been working on for quite a while. And so this will give our department, both police and fire, we believe a better radio system. It is one that DPS utilizes for all of their communications throughout the state. And so they keep it maintained and all that type of stuff. So we think it's going to be a great asset to our public safety agencies. Any questions?
I'm glad you added that, Sam. I've been to some of the meetings you guys have been at, and I'm glad you're talking about it countywide. And it involves all of us. I actually thought I heard that it might be a little cheaper for us even collectively.
Well, this will be in addition to what we're paying. We're still working with the county as far as what they're going to be charging for their portion of it. This is in addition to what the county already provides.
Well, I hope the county heard cheaper.
Yeah, yes,
Thank you, Sam.
yes.
We don't have 60 officers, so can you clarify the 60 needed?
Yes, thank you for asking that question. So the way the state does it is that they charge per radio. So each officer has an in-car radio and they have one on them. So that's the 60.
Okay.
And then if there's any spares in addition to that, so if somebody breaks one or whatever the case is, they'll have that is on the system as well.
So when you said we'll be adding fire, so we'll have to pay for each of their pagers also to have access to this?
No, it'll just be the radios themselves. So the fire truck radios and then the radios that are assigned to each firefighter.
Oh, sorry. I did have one. I'm sorry. Because we are approving a contract, has Bill reviewed the language to make sure that it is up to his standards?
He has, and he had a couple additions, and DPS was okay with that, and we put those in there. So.
And the bylaws actually are a good tool, all of these, many agencies to work together to make a network work. It's impossible to rigidly define a network in an IGA. Best thing to do is put it in the hands of those who know what they're doing. I don't, and let them figure out how to have the network work. It's a really good example of how to work. I've seen other bylaws that try to let the lead agency take control over the other. This doesn't do that. This is really a cooperative effort.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Action item.
Mayor, I move to approve ASWIN's membership agreement with the Arizona Department of Public Safety.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ASWIN's membership agreement with DPS. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. Then we'll move on to item 11, resolutions. Number 1, resolution R26-026. It's the 2026 primary election canvass of votes.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request for mayor and council to approve Resolution R26-026 for the canvass of the primary election results, which formally canvasses the results that was held from the primary election that was held on January 21st, 2026. Some background on this: the Graham County Elections Department conducted the primary election on Tuesday, July 21st. The participation of the city of Safford in the primary election was part of the regular electoral process aimed to fill the seat of 3 council seats for the upcoming term. The results of the primary election have been reviewed and canvassed by the Graham County Board of Supervisors and the Graham County Elections Director, Hannah Duderstadt, and require the formal canvass now by the City of Safford Council. After receiving the vote tabulations from Graham County per Arizona Revised Statute Section 9-821.01, determining the majority of votes cast requires the following calculation. It's a 3-step. We're adding the total number of votes cast for all the candidates for an office, divide that sum by the number of seats that will be filled at this election, and then you divide the result of that calculation by 2 and round up the number to the highest whole number. So in this case, the majority vote calculation for the 2026 primary election, we had a total of 4,004 votes casted. We divide that by the 3 seats that are being filled, which leaves us at 1,334. That number we divide by 2 puts us at 667, and again, we have to round to the highest whole number. So the total majority vote that was required for this election was 668 votes. Some more primary election results. The total registered voters is 22,743. The total ballots casted was 5,377, giving a rate of return of only 23.64%. For the City Council, the election results come in as follows. Luke Arbizo received 996 votes. Mary Bingham received 813 votes. Jacob Garcia received 450 votes. Arnold Lopez received 703 votes. Steve McGoy received 773 votes. And Monique Ungerman received 269 votes. This gives us the results of Luke Arbizo, Mary Bingham, and Steve McGoy receiving the highest votes and are now declared council members-elect. They will be seated on December 14, 2026, in accordance with the City of Safford Municipal Code, Section 1.08.050B. My recommendation is that City Council adopt Resolution R26-026 to complete the canvass of the votes of the primary election that was held again on July 21st, 2026, and that we declare Luke Arbizo, Mary Bingham, and Steve McGoy as the elected council members. With that, I stand for any questions, Mayor and Council.
Questions? If not, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move to approve Resolution R26026, 2026 primary election canvass of votes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution R26-026. That's the 2026 primary election canvass of votes. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, Mayor. This approves resolution number R26-026, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, canvassing the primary election held on July 21st, 2026.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to item number 12. We're going to close the regular meeting and convene into executive session.
Mayor, I make a motion to close our regular meeting, convene into executive session, and also to table item 13.1.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to convene our regular meeting and convene, and go into executive session and to eliminate item 1 on 13. All in favor?
I don't think it should say eliminate, right? It should say table.
That's correct, table. So the motion was to table number 13.1.
All right. With a vote, want it over?
If you wanted to do the vote again.
You want to vote over to have it tabled? No?
So the motion together is to go into executive session and table number 13.1.
Right.
So if you'd like to do the vote now, you could.
Okay, we'll do the vote again. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Close our executive session and reconvene back into our regular meeting. Item number 15, announcement of current events. Anybody?
Mayor, just a comment. Today I received a email from Mr. No, I just drew a blank. He's the CEO of Graham County Electric Co-op. Phil Cook. He's probably gonna not a good thing to draw a blank. Sorry, it's been a long day. Anyhow, he expressed his gratitude for our electric team going out and supporting the co-op with the recent outages that they faced. So I just wanted to pass that along and express gratitude to our team as well. Mr. Lowe has conveyed that to Mr. Cook or Michael as well. Thank you. It's been a day.
Anybody else? And item 16, request for agenda items.
I always get them mixed up, Mayor, between announcement of current events and what's requested. I mainly have direction. So right now, I think we have the best student resource officer there's ever been. I was hoping some of the opioid money could go towards the officer to, since school just opened, to encourage some events that the officer may see fit to help enhance that relationship. And I'm hoping that the officer won't tase me for mentioning that. I also have a request now, our dog ordinances, our animal ordinances within town, I think they need some brushing up or attention brought to them because there just don't seem to be a whole lot, or we get bogged down with them, the ordinances. They need to be revisited to take care of our animals. You know, some of them are left without much water, feed, shade, and if you go back, if they have a little bit of shade, have a little bit of water, and a little bit of food, it's okay by what we got going. Can we look into what we actually have so that we can head off some of these things, and the people that talk to us about these situations can have some response from the police office, if that's who has it all the time, or our own employees to identify these things and take care of them. I also have, I asked earlier about which one of these has legality, the videos we record or the written minutes. And lots of times we refer to both of them differently. Well, that's not what it said on the video, or that's what's in the minutes. The clerk says that the written word was the one that is legal, and they can differ. If I think you know what I mean, they can differ, and we can have an argument on what was said, what wasn't said. So can we clarify that somehow?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, I did go ahead and reach out to our city attorney to hopefully get an answer for you tonight and clear this mess up. So in our case, we do not refer back to YouTube, but we do have an internal audio recording that IT has. And so if there was ever a discrepancy from what my written or presented and adopted minutes is, we would reflect back to the audio that was recorded for that meeting and go from there.
Okay, because you've got quite a challenge in getting that written up.
Mr. Mayor, if I could jump in. What the open meeting law requires, it requires your clerk to take minutes, and she takes excellent minutes. It does not require verbatim minutes. Some jurisdictions actually have verbatim minutes. At the end of the day, the clerk is right. When you have the right to look at the minutes, and if you disagree that it doesn't match what you recall, you can bring it up at the next meeting. They then become the official record minutes. Having said that, Councilmember Viso is correct. There is a recorded document. So in the future, if there's any discrepancy or concern about the accuracy of the minutes, then the actual recordings could be reviewed. I've never seen that except in the cases of litigation. So the bottom line is what the clerk prepares and you approve becomes the official minutes. If in the future there's ever questions about the validity of those minutes, then the recordings are there to confirm whether or not they were accurate.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if the chief has something.
Yeah, yes, sir, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Just to answer your first question or concern you brought up,
First of all, yes, we do have an excellent SRO officer.
Yeah.
We actually work through Kathy Grimes for these programs. We support them with the opioid funding through Kathy, and she works with Sherry to get these programs into the schools and that. So those get done annually. So we do work on those.
Great, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll move on to item number 17.
Mayor, I move to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? We're adjourned.
I think you were given some guidance on the